In the harsh, unforgiving world of the Viking Age, strength, loyalty, and vengeance were the lifeblood of society. For the Norsemen, the line between life and death was thin, and honor was everything. Betrayal was met with swift and brutal retribution, often in ways that would chill the hearts of even the fiercest warriors. Among the many terrifying acts recorded in Viking history, one stands out as the most gruesome: the Blood Eagle. Was this ritualistic execution a myth, a misunderstood story, or a terrifying reality? Today, we explore the dark depths of this horrifying practice. The Blood Eagle ritual is rooted in the Viking Age, a period stretching from the late 8th to the early 11th century. This was a time marked by relentless raids, exploration of new lands, and the spread of Norse culture. Vikings were not just seafarers, they were warriors bound by a code of honor, duty, and fierce loyalty. Their world was governed by the laws of gods like Odin, Thor, and Loki, and these laws were upheld with a brutal sense of justice. The sagas and poems that have survived paint a vivid picture of a society where strength was revered and weakness was despised. Within this framework of honor and vengeance, the Blood Eagle emerged as a punishment reserved for the gravest of betrayals. It was not a common execution method, but rather a symbolic act meant to send a powerful message to those who witnessed it. According to Norse sagas, the Blood Eagle was not just about death. It was about pain, spectacle, and ultimate humiliation. But what made this method so feared? The ritual of the Blood Eagle was not just a quick execution. It was a methodical process designed to prolong suffering and showcase the Vikings' dominion over their enemy. The victim, often a captured enemy or a person guilty of treachery, would be laid face down, their arms and legs bound. The executioner, often someone close to the victim's betrayer or a person of significance, would begin by making an incision along the spine. With a sharp blade, the executioner would carve through the skin and flesh, exposing the ribs. Each rib was then meticulously severed from the backbone with a combination of cuts and brute force and spread outward to resemble wings. The final, most excruciating act was the removal of the lungs, which were pulled out and laid over the exposed wings of the ribs. This gory spectacle resembled an eagle with outstretched wings, a bloody, nightmarish vision meant to invoke terror. The victim was said to be conscious throughout much of this ordeal, suffering unimaginable pain. There are debates among scholars about whether the victim could survive such extensive trauma until the lungs were removed, but even the very idea is horrifying. This execution was not just about killing, it was about inflicting the maximum amount of suffering while displaying the power and vengeance of the Viking executioner. Why would such a gruesome method be employed? The Blood Eagle was not just an act of cruelty, but a ritual steeped in symbolism and cultural meaning. To the Vikings, the manner of one's death could reflect on their character and the honor of their family. Executing someone in this horrific way was a statement, an ultimate punishment reserved for those who had committed unforgivable acts, such as betrayal of their lord, kin, or gods. The public nature of the execution was crucial. It was a spectacle, a warning to others that betrayal would not be tolerated. To have your death be witnessed by others in such a way was to be stripped of all dignity. The Blood Eagle was a vivid reminder that the Viking code of honor was absolute, and to break it was to invite the wrath of the gods themselves. The most well-known account of the Blood Eagle comes from the Norse sagas, particularly in stories of revenge and betrayal. One of the most famous tales is that of King Ella of Northumbria, who was subjected to the Blood Eagle by Ivar the Boneless, one of the sons of Ragnar Lothbrok. According to the sagas, Ella had killed Ragnar by throwing him into a pit of snakes. As revenge, Ragnar's sons captured Ella, and Ivar performed the Blood Eagle on him as a way to restore the family's honor. But how much of this is true? Historians debate the authenticity of the blood eagle, questioning whether it was ever truly performed or if it was a later invention, exaggerated by Christian monks who chronicled the Viking sagas. Some argue that the descriptions were metaphorical, perhaps representing a poetic or symbolic act of vengeance rather than a literal one. Others believe that the blood eagle could have been a real execution method, but rare and reserved for extreme cases. The sagas were often written down centuries after the events they describe, which makes it difficult to separate fact from fiction. However, the recurring theme of the blood eagle across multiple texts suggests that, whether real or imagined, it was deeply embedded in the Viking consciousness. The Viking Age was marked by a relentless pursuit of honor, a concept that was woven into the very fabric of Norse society. Warriors sought glory not just in life but also in death, believing that a brave end would secure their place in Valhalla, the great hall of the fallen, where they would feast with the gods until Ragnarok, the end of the world. To die in battle or through acts of courage was the highest achievement, a fate reserved for the bold and the fearless. This belief system shaped every aspect of Viking life, from their battles to their personal interactions, and even to their sense of justice. Vengeance was not merely an emotional response. It was a duty, a sacred obligation that had to be fulfilled to maintain personal and familial honor. In a society that valued strength above all else, letting a wrong go unpunished was seen as the ultimate disgrace, a stain that could only be cleansed through retribution. Whether it was avenging a fallen comrade, a slain family member, or a broken oath, the need to balance the scales of justice was paramount. Within this context, the blood eagle was far more than a mere execution. It was a deeply symbolic act designed to restore balance, right a grievous wrong, and reaffirm the social order. The method of the blood eagle, with its slow, deliberate, and excruciatingly painful process, was the ultimate form of vengeance. It stripped the victim of all dignity and humanity, serving as a grim reminder of the consequences of betrayal. To the Vikings, mercy was not a virtue. It was a weakness. Revenge, on the other hand, was sacred, and the blood eagle was the most fearsome way to enact that sacred duty. The public nature of the execution was also crucial. In a world without written laws as we know them, the Viking sense of justice was enforced through reputation and fear. The blood eagle served as a powerful message, not just to the victim but to the entire community. This is what happens to those who betray their kin or defy the will of their people. The spectacle of such a brutal punishment was intended to deter others from committing similar offenses, ensuring that the code of honor was upheld at all costs. The terrifying image of the blood eagle has captured modern imagination, continuing to haunt us centuries after the Viking Age ended. This gruesome execution has been featured in popular media, like the TV series Vikings, where it was depicted in all its horrifying detail, dramatizing the ritual for a new audience. The scene was met with both fascination and revulsion, sparking discussions about the brutality of the past and the nature of Viking justice. Similarly, video games such as Assassin's Creed, Valhalla have brought the blood eagle to life in vivid, interactive detail, allowing players to step into a world where honor and vengeance dictated every action. These portrayals often take creative liberties, enhancing the horror to fit modern storytelling, but they also serve a deeper purpose. They keep the legend of the blood eagle alive, blending history with myth and bringing a new generation into contact with Viking culture. Through these dramatizations, the ritual becomes more than just a footnote in history. It transforms into a symbol of the dark and complex nature of human vengeance. However, these depictions also blur the lines between what is true and what is imagined. The sagas themselves, written centuries after the events they describe, are a mix of historical fact, legend, and poetic exaggeration. Modern media often amplifies these elements, emphasizing the most sensational aspects to capture the audience's attention. Yet beneath the dramatization lies a core truth. The Vikings, for all their achievements in exploration, trade, and culture, lived in a world where brutality was not just accepted, it was celebrated. The blood eagle, whether myth or reality, speaks to this harsh and unyielding way of life. The blood eagle stands as one of history's most gruesome and debated practices. Its legacy is shrouded in mystery, a blend of terrifying ritual and cultural myth that continues to capture the imagination. Whether it truly happened as described in the sagas, or is simply a creation of storytellers seeking to emphasize the ruthless nature of Viking justice, it reflects the Viking spirit, fierce, unyielding, and bound by a code of honor that we can scarcely comprehend today. The Blood Eagle is not just a tale of terror. It is a window into a culture that valued strength and retribution above all else. It reminds us that history is not just a record of achievements, but also of the darkest depths of human cruelty. In the Viking world, death was often brutal, but dying at the hands of the Blood Eagle was the ultimate condemnation, a fate reserved for those who had crossed the most sacred lines. In the end, the Blood Eagle serves as a chilling reminder that in the dark corners of history, there are stories that still have the power to shock and disturb. It speaks to the extremes of human behavior, where the pursuit of honor and the desire for revenge can lead to acts of unimaginable cruelty. And perhaps that is why the legend of the Blood Eagle endures. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truths about the past and about the capacity for violence that lies within us all. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of the darkest rituals of the Viking Age. If you found this story as chilling as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tales of history's most terrifying moments. Until next time, remember, some legends are best left in the shadows.